The greatest threat in your life, it's actually not the person glaring at you from across the room. It's not the enemy yelling in your face. It's the person smiling sweetly while secretly wishing you were gone. We're looking at 5 signs someone secretly hates you, diving into the hidden psychology of silent resentment.
Think about your routine for a second. You walk into the office, someone greets you, they smile at you every single morning. They hand you a coffee, they ask about your weekend. It's just an ordinary, polite interaction. It makes you feel comfortable, safe even. They congratulate your success. They laugh at all your jokes. It's this forced warmth, this fake etiquette that convinces you to completely lower your natural defenses. You just assume the world is operating on fairness, right? Mutual respect. But if you really pay attention, their actions tell a completely different story. Because real hatred, it rarely announces itself. It doesn't leave a threatening note on your desk. It hides in the shadows of ordinary behavior. It wears a very polite, very charming mask.
So how do you actually spot silent resentment before it's too late? What we're about to uncover are the subtle, chilling behaviors that betray malicious intent. And here's the scary part. Most people completely miss these signs until the damage is already done. Let's look at the first sign, the false friend facade.
We're all conditioned to believe that kindness is a good thing, but when a distant acquaintance suddenly pivots into a deeply invested friend for absolutely no reason, that is your first massive red flag. Genuine connection takes time. A false friend, though, acts more like a covert spy. They ask these highly detailed, prying questions about your schedule, your fears, your past mistakes. They aren't asking because they care. They're mapping out your vulnerabilities. They're gathering intelligence.
It reminds me of what this Stoic philosopher Seneca said. A friend is someone you trust with your soul, but trust must be earned, not given freely to anyone who smiles and listens. They just want your weaknesses, but that's only the beginning. How exactly do they weaponize that intelligence against you? Well, that brings us to sign 2, contradictory body language. Imagine you're talking to someone and they're saying all the right words, but their physical presence, it just feels off. Like there's an invisible, chilling barrier between you two. In psychology, there's something called the chameleon effect. It's a subconscious behavior where we naturally mirror the body language of people we like and trust. But a secret hater, they will actively resist mimicking you. Instead of leaning in, they cross their arms, they pull away. Their body literally rejects you even while their mouth is smiling. Now, sometimes they realize pulling away is a bit too obvious, so they pivot. They start overcompensating with eye contact. It feels intense, forced, and completely unnatural. But despite all that intense staring, those invisible physical barriers are still there. Their body completely betrays their resentment. But here's where it gets interesting. What happens when they can't even stand to be near you at all? Let's move to sign 3, calculated avoidance strategies. So now we shift from their physical presence to their deliberate absence. When you do actually speak to them, they limit communication to curt one-word answers. Fine, okay, the warmth is just gone. But this is where it gets incredibly dark. They study your schedule just to avoid you. They aren't just busy, they're actively tracking your routines, your lunch hours, your gym times, literally just to ensure they never have to share space with you. Think about it. It takes a massive amount of mental energy to map out someone's entire life just to avoid them. But what happens when simply avoiding you isn't enough anymore? What happens when their resentment demands actual action? That unlocks sign 4, the silent saboteur. At this point, this person isn't content with just avoiding you. They want you completely isolated. So they launch a shadow campaign, character assassination. They move like phantoms, whispering half-truths to your boss, planting tiny seeds of doubt among your friends. In psychology, this is known as calculated fragmentation. It's a strategic tactic to systematically isolate a target. They orchestrate these small, seemingly unrelated conflicts behind your back to make you look unstable. They're deliberately cutting you off from your lifelines so that when they finally strike, you're standing completely alone. When you find yourself trapped in this kind of toxic fog, it helps to remember the words of Marcus Aurelius. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Your survival here really depends on not reacting emotionally to their rumors. Don't chase the drama. Anchor yourself in hard evidence. Document everything and keep your circle tight. Protecting your reputation is crucial, for sure, but the next sign is even harder to notice. Is there a threat even deeper than social isolation? What is the ultimate, most dangerous form of silent resentment? That brings us to our final sign, the patient predator. This is the terrifying reality of the long game. This kind of enemy doesn't lash out in anger. No, they hide behind time and a mask of total normalcy. They seem like a dependable coworker, a friendly neighbor, and their strategy follows exact steps. First, subtle offhand jokes that mask real threats, just measuring your fear. Second, testing your physical boundaries, stepping just a little too close. And third, waiting for your defenses to completely drop. They systematically desensitize you to their aggression, literally rehearsing the perfect betrayal while you assume everything is totally fine. Epictetus framed it this way. First, say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. See, while you're walking around assuming the world is fair, they are systematically acting on premeditated intent. Their kindness is nothing but bait. They're just waiting for the exact moment your routine breaks. Okay, let's take a breath for a second. This is a crucial reminder. One behavior doesn't prove hatred. A single awkward interaction, a bad day, or someone crossing their arms one time, that means absolutely nothing. But a recurring pattern of these 5 signs over a long period of time, that is a survival red flag you absolutely cannot afford to ignore. Because honestly, it's not paranoia if they are actually studying your downfall. Which leaves us with a final thought. Have you ever realized someone secretly disliked you only after it was too late? Which of these signs have you experienced in real life? Drop your stories in the comments below. Sharing your experience might just help someone else connect the dots before it's too late. Knowledge is your first line of defense, but action is what keeps you safe. Trust wisely. And if you enjoy exploring psychology and human behavior, subscribe to Shadow Psychology for more documentaries. Stay sharp, stay guarded, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.